Hello, everyone, and welcome to Day 4 of Pride. Today, we are talking about the letter B in LGBTQIA or LGBTQ+. You know, that's what it is. It is talking about beavers. That's right. I have my beaver hat on. I'm just kidding. It's more about being bisexual. And here's the bisexual flag. I'll talk about the other flag behind me in a moment. But I went to my favorite person that I could think of to tell us about the world of identifying as bisexual. Hi, Carla.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me on.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh. How can we be an inclusion ally to those who identify as bisexual?
I think for me personally, one of the things that is hardest about identifying as bisexual is that as a monogamous person, when I am in a relationship, I am passing as straight or gay. And I do want to just sidebar
Yeah.
that just because you're bisexual does not mean that you are preferring like one relationship style. So bisexual people can be monogamous, they can be polyamorous, they can do all that stuff and still be valid. For me, I am a bisexual woman in a long-term relationship with a man. So functionally in my life, I am straight passing. And so one thing that I find really, really helpful from my friends and my loved ones is when people don't assume that they are in the company of a straight person just because that person has a partner of a different gender. So just one language note that I find helpful and that I've advised other people is to use gender neutral terms for people's romantic partners. So like spouse instead of husband or wife,
Nice.
significant other instead of boyfriend or girlfriend. And kind of gender neutral pronouns if you're asking a friend like, hey, have you met someone? And not assuming that you know who they're gonna be interested in.
Nice.
One other thing that I would just talk about is there are lots and lots of harmful myths out there about bisexuals. It is my hobby, I will say, to dispel these myths, and I would love it if you could help me out with that.
Let's
There
do
are a
that.
few
I
of
want to
them.
be an ally.
So the first is that bisexuals don't exist, that we are just indecisive people who can't decide if we're gay or straight. That is not the case. The second is that bisexuals are more likely to cheat on their partners or be kind of predatory. That is obviously not true. We want the same diversity of relationships and things out of relationships as anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Three, I don't know if this is still as much the case, but there is a really harmful myth that bisexuals have been responsible for spreading a lot of STIs
Oh, okay.
from gay communities into straight communities, which is problematic on a lot of levels. So if you have ever heard that, I would rethink that one.
So dispel that myth too. And Carla, I love how you talked about, not assuming that someone is in a relationship with someone who's of the opposite sex. And I talk about that, being a school counselor, and you and I work together in a school too, not assuming that, if they're going to go to a dance that they want to go with someone else, or even assuming that they even want to go to the dance. So I love that. I see a very fun t-shirt that you're wearing. Tell us about your t-shirt, Carla.
Yeah, so thank you. This t-shirt is, it was a t-shirt for a Day of Silence action on the UW-Madison campus, which is my alma mater. This was probably back in 2011, 2012. And the Day of Silence is, I'm sure, Lisa, that you have talked about it elsewhere, but just the idea that we recognize the ways that people in the LGBTQ plus community have been silenced. And what's really cool is since I was like a baby queer activist in high school, this has evolved. So these days, it's really more focused on breaking the silence. It used to be that people would be silent for a day to commemorate silencing, and now it's very much about being loud and active. So
That is awesome. So you were a baby queer activist. What are you now?
I like to think that I am, you know, a fully grown adult queer activist.
I agree. You are. And you're, I was telling my wife earlier that you were one of the most welcoming people when you and I worked together, and how you treated kids was just, it was brilliant and marvelous, and believed in all of
Well,
them. And so I want to
thank
thank,
you.
yeah, no.
So I have to pass that credit forward to, I was really fortunate to go to a high school where I had access to multiple out queer role models in my teachers and adults in my community. And so, you know, I'm happy to pay it forward
Oh,
all the
that
time.
is that is fantastic. So I'm going to show, because I talk about show shifting and shaping in my book. So this is the bisexual flag, and I'm going to read about it right here. Oh yeah, I got it at Target. Designed by Michael Page, the bisexual flag borrows its colors from an older symbol of bisexuality, two overlapping pink and dark blue triangles nicknamed the biangles. You knew that, didn't you, Carla?
I actually did not. So thank you for teaching me
Oh my
something
gosh, you are
about
so
my own
welcome.
history.
Yes, and the last thing that I do want to say is behind me I have the flag for those who identify as pansexual, because sometimes bisexual and pansexual get confused for each other. And so my friend Jessie, I was just on her podcast, she identifies as pansexual, and her big thing is that she loves hearts, not parts. And so someone who identifies as pansexual might love someone who is asexual, someone who is polyamorous, someone who is transgender, whatever it is. And so I just wanted to put that out there for everyone to know about how we can be an inclusion ally. And the biggest thing that I'm hearing from you, Carla, is don't assume, and to ask questions. So thank you, Carla, very, very much. I appreciate you. I love you, not in a romantic way, and that wasn't meant to be anything bad. But thank you for
Right
talking
back
to
at
us.
you, Lisa.
Thank you for talking to us about how we can be an inclusion ally to the people who identify as bisexual.